We are here in the European Parliament in Brussels. It's a very busy week, a lot of committees, delegations, inquiry committees. It's an ordinary busy week. And we are very grateful that Helmut Scholz, member of the European Parliament from Brussels, is here together with us. And he has accepted to answer 6 questions. Therefore, I would like to start with the first question. As you are since 2009 a key member of the European Parliament, especially of the International Trade Committee, you might be the best person to answer the following question, which in the moment is in the mind of everyone here in Brussels in the trade sector. The question: what form will have in the future bilateral relations in a world which is more and more becoming a world of antagonistic blocs? Please.
I mean, that is a really challenging question, and thank you for having invited me for this interview and for this talk. I can only say we have to determine the correct narrative, what we are speaking about. What is the main challenge? The main challenge is climate change and the loss of biodiversity. That is affecting each economy worldwide, around the globe. True for the United States, true for the European Union, true for China, true for African countries, as well as for Latin America. And if we don't find an approach what trade relations can play in this narrative determining self-understanding of the participating countries in the globalized multilateral trading system, we will fail to fulfill the task to guarantee the survival of the mankind. And therefore, I think trade can and has to play a dominant role in addressing this issue, because we are interlinking economies. We are interlinking the way of our production, about our way of consumption, about how we want to live together. And that, I think, is the determining issue also here in the European Parliament. We have to discuss day per day this question, shaped to the concrete trade relations, maybe between the European Union and the United States, maybe between the EU and China, maybe with other countries.
Thank you. Now I understand why you have there a sticker, the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations.
Yeah, we have remaining 8 years to fulfill this commitment of all the United Nations member states, that we have to fulfill the 17 SDGs. That means overcoming poverty, securing clear water, to give food security and food to everybody, to deal with the question of how we are dealing with energy production,
yeah,
etc. So I mean,
but then what you're saying is then a sort of wake-up call, not to stay in the antagonistic blocs, but try to overcome it.
Yes.
Thank you. Clear, yes. Second question: what form will have the future relationship between the EU and China? Will it be a partnership, a rivalry, or something else?
Since the EU-China summit in 2019, the European Union has defined the partnership with China, or the bilateral relationship with China, to being competitors in the economic understanding, partners in certain fields of international problems, but of course also, and that was new compared with the time before, as systemic rivals. Realizing that the economic power of today's China is of course questioning a lot of the way of how we are organizing our own economy inside the European Union, all the 27 member states. And maybe we have lost a little bit the perception that we have always to determine what are the interests of my partner. If we are speaking about the transatlantic relationship, then of course we are speaking about a long traditional cooperation which has been emerged after the Second World War, when the Americans have, with the Marshall Plan, given a lot of boost to the recovery of the European economies after the, from Germany committed, Second World War. And that in a certain way is also true for Asia. But in Asia, there has been the development of China contributed that China itself has emerged as a global, not partner, but a global player, as I would say, in the international economic relations. And therefore, I think, yes, we are, maybe because we have different understanding about how our societies are functioning, what are the main interests of us, that we have different approaches to deal with the issue. And therefore we are, in a certain way, rivals, which is not really a problem if we not understand rivals as fighting each other in a confrontation, understanding blocks or countries, etc. We have to say, yes, we are in a competition. And who can deal better with a commitment to serve for the interests of the people, of all people in the countries, which are establishing a business, a commercial relationship, a political relationship, and contributing to global issues. So to secure peace, to secure food supply, to deal with the digitalized economy in the 21st century is of course different to the partnership and rivalry as it has been in the 50s or 60s of the last century. I think the problem we are facing today is that China has of course a clear commitment to organize its own social and political and economic development. It's by its own. EU is understanding itself as a global player who wants to shape relations with other countries in Europe, at the Americas, in Asia, for the benefit of the own economy, of our own development. And here I think that the current shape of the relationship between EU and China is of course also under the pressure of the current developments of the war in Europe. And that is challenging, of course, to determine for both partners, the EU and China, how we relate to each other in front or in shaping with the challenges of the war.
Now, next question. The digital world has changed the way in which everyone on this globe is able to receive information instantly. What will be the consequence for the leaders in politics and business of this?
It's related a little bit to this question you have raised to me about the relationship EU and US. Who is the digital power in the world? It's the US, it's not the EU. So, and in another way, China has emerged as a digital power as well. So we are, how to say it, punished to develop our own ability as a European Union to deal with this issue. How we are shaping the access to data, how we are accessing the knowledge, how we are teaching our young generation in the schools being able to deal with the challenges from a digitalized economy. So I think the digitalized economy is creating a totally new field of interlinked international challenges and obligations which are shaping the new way of how we are organizing our economies. Wow. And that, I think, is the problem of this today. And if you speak about artificial intelligence, what does it mean? Who is determining in which way the algorithms determining our daily life. So who has access to the algorithm, who is determining in which frame we are developing this artificial intelligence? I don't want to be, frankly speaking, under a certain rule of political interests, being it of states, being it of corporations in a private understanding, who are saying you have to behave in this or that way. No, that should be my personal or my individual or my social choice to take part in determining in which way we want to deal with the digitalized
Thank you very much. I see
sector.
as well that you are a philosopher. Thank you for this answer. Now, the war in the Ukraine is affecting the whole of the world, directly and indirectly. The EU and China are main political and business powers. This includes a certain responsibility to preserve peace on this globe. Looking now at the war in the Ukraine, is there a possibility that or where the EU and China together can act, can take action?
I personally am convinced that there is no solution, lasting solution, real solution, to stop the war as soon as possible than diplomatic and political talks and dialogue. But that means we have to insist on frank, honest talks. And that leads to the question why the Minsk agreement hasn't been fulfilled after over the last 8 years or 6 years. And what has been the guarantee powers for the Minsk agreement, Minsk I, Minsk II, has done to persuade both Ukraine and Russian Federation
EU and China together
to fulfill. Yeah, but that is a European, is a European responsibility. And China was silent about that. So the question would be, do we ask from very different angles of the perception of this war of Putin and the Russian Federation against Ukraine, under their definition or under their description of the reasons for a long-term dangerous development in the relationship between the Russian Federation and Ukraine, and a different perception by China to this. So I fear that for the moment, I don't see a joint commitment of China and the European Union really to act here together, because the European Union is insisting on sanctions, is insisting on giving military potential to the Ukraine, to self-defense, which is their right, and which I also say, yes, of course, they have to be weaponed to be able to self-defend. But at the same time, it should be a different approach of the European Union to start negotiations as soon as possible. And I would say, coming back to your first question, that we have to change the narrative. Because the war between Ukraine and Russian Federation is not solving the problems in the relationship between these two countries. Because the climate change is challenging the Russian Federation with the melting down of the permafrost soil in the high north of the Russian Federation. And that is our problem together. It's a problem of Russia, it's a problem of Ukraine, it's a problem of Germany, it's a problem of the EU and China. And here I see maybe China and the European Union can try to persuade both in war situated countries, Ukraine and Russian Federation, to forget about the narrow national only determined interest in this war, and saying, no, we have a common interest in surviving. And hopefully China and EU can contribute to this rethinking of the whole issue. And probably Putin is totally wrong by trying to use war to solve problems, because that is a clear breach of the human and international law, and that is, it can't be shared by nobody. Mm-hmm. And here we have to say, stop the war, Mr. Putin, and come back to the negotiation table and honest negotiations. Mm-hmm. And that the same request should be alerted also to the president of the Ukraine, Zelensky, who in trying to have the ability of Ukraine to find a defense, self-defense, he says, no, we have to contribute to make it possible for Putin to come to the negotiation table.
Thank you.
What does the EU want to China in business and politically?
Probably they want to have a continuation of its own economic model, which is exporting, which is having a strengthening of their own economic basis, which is, as a Peace Nobel Prize winner, the European Union is a soft power, to be a soft power, and by that recognized also by China. So to have access to the Chinese market, and by that also to cooperate with them. But with the COVID-19 pandemic impact, everybody has understood that we have, of course, also to decouple certain issues. We have to decrease the interdependence of the economies without totally decoupling the relationship. No, we are living in a globalized economy and saving and mitigating the loss of biodiversity and saving our how to say it, interest of surviving in the 21st century. And we have 20, 30 years maximum for doing so. I hope that this realization of working together in a rules-based, fair, ethic-founded international trade environment should be the long-term interest of the European Union. And I'm convinced that we are coming back to this issue and to find a new approach also to deal with China. And China should also understand that this is hopefully more honest approach of the European Union than sometimes we are hearing here in the House of the European Parliament by certain colleagues who are looking more in their own interests instead of the common interests.